51% of churchgoers are not even familiar with the term the Great Commission. So I ask you, is God dead in these churches? Has God left these churches? Has He vacated? Has He given up on them? How is it that a Spirit-filled church cannot bring one person in 12 months into the kingdom of God? Unless, of course, evangelism is no longer alive. Well, according to Outreach Magazine, in their annual report, 100 Fast-Growing Churches, evangelism is alive and well. They studied the top 10, the cream of the crop of those 100 churches. They looked at the top 10, and what they discovered should not only inspire us, but equip us to focus on evangelism as the number one priority in the kingdom of God. Here's what they found, if I can find mine. For a culture of evangelism, they focused on Jesus. They celebrated lives transformed by the gospel. They focused on the simplicity of the gospel. They created an environment of humility and authenticity. They nurtured an environment of grace. They created an environment of diversity. They had catalytic events, that's like big outreach events. They made evangelism everyone's job. They used creativity and innovation. They had a plan to disciple the converted. They believed that the gospel is the only hope. They had a heart for the lost in their city. Those are the 12 discoveries that they made in the studies of the top fastest growing churches in the world, in the country. No church should ever go a year without seeing someone brought to the cross. And furthermore, no Christian should go 12 months without being an influence to someone leading them to the cross. Have we lost our hearts to the lost? Have we ignored the burden that Christ had for our lost family members, our lost friends, and our lost neighbors? In his book, A Sense of Urgency, is that up there? Yeah. John Carter wrote, "People will not change or act based on what they think, but on what they feel." You see, we all know that we need to do a better job. We all know that we need to do better in the purpose for which Christ has called us. We just don't feel like it. We just don't feel like it. We don't have a sense of urgency. It doesn't make us sick that people are dying and going to hell. I shared with you in May how heavy burdened I am and how heavy burdened I have been for 10 years to help our congregation to fall in love with God and His Word all over again. And some for you for the first time. I would love to see Barna take a poll of pastors in America and just ask them one question. What hurts your heart most in regards to your flock? I am convinced, and no one will help me to be convinced of otherwise, that the leading answer will always be, I can't seem to help my people fall in love with God. That should break our hearts. Christ gave us the Great Commission because that was what is important to Him. Lost souls. You can hardly turn a page in the four Gospels without seeing His brokenness. And given that fact, shouldn't we also be broken? If Christ was that broken, where you can't hardly turn a page through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John without seeing Him broken, shouldn't we be passionate about the lost as well? Shouldn't we have a heart for those who are dying and going to hell? Many of our family members, many of our friends and our neighbors. Shouldn't we care that we may never see them again in all his name? And yet, while we may never see them in eternity, I am convinced that we will never forget, even while we are enjoying our place in eternity, that they are suffering every moment of every day in theirs. I don't think God will let us forget that. And so we need to be more passionate. We must develop a plan to reach the lost. We must pray for the lost. We must have a passion to see the lost come to Christ. And we need to pursue the lost at all cost. At all cost. Do we have a passion for the lost, or have we lost our passion? That's a question that only you can answer on your knees. Do we have a passion for the lost, or have we lost our passion? And if you do have a passion for the lost, do you have a plan? Or are you just kind of winging it? Are you playing it by ear? Or worse, as Brunel had alluded to last week, are you kind of relying on the church leadership to hook them and bring them in the boat? If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a passion, there's only one place to get it. There's only one way to catch on fire, and that is spending time with God. That is spending time with God and getting so close to Jesus in your life, and so close to the Holy Spirit fire that your eyebrows are singed, your heart is singed, and that your face is burnt just like Moses. That's the only way that you'll ever develop a passion for the lost. Some of you may not know, but I have, as long as I can remember, I've had a passion to play the piano. As long as I can remember. Even when I was a kid, when I taught myself guitar, I had a passion to learn the piano. But I never did. And last October, Nan surprised me for my birthday with a year's worth of piano lessons. It's kind of like the Jelly of the Month Club. You know, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I'll confess to you, there are many nights that I will come home and the last thing I feel like doing is sitting down to the piano. Especially when it's not fun, you know, especially when it's really hard work. And those of you that have gone through the lessons, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes I don't. I mean, sometimes I just want to become one with my couch. But my passion won't let me most nights. You see, my passion makes me sit down and learn those things, not because I want to become some concert pianist or become as good as Sheila or Tony, but just so that I can minister to myself as the need arises. Everything that is worthwhile in life, everything that is significant, that is impactful, that is fulfilling, is the result of someone's undeniable and unstoppable passion. If Christianity is to impact this world, it must be carried by people with a passion for the lost. As our Pastor Greg said, he said, there must be an intense passion for evangelism. Our faith must be powerful. Our commitment must be unshakable. Our goals must be remarkable. And our determination must be unstoppable. Now, for the most part, it seems that Christians are content to operate with little faith, no passion, and a hope that does nothing to move you to change. More sadly than that, our lack of passion tends to douse those who are on fire for Christ. When we come across someone who's on fire for soul winning, we have a tendency, if not in deed, at least in action, we have a tendency to pull those little soul winning Jesus freaks aside and say, okay, look here. It's good that you have you have Christianity. It's good that you're a Christian. But if you're not careful, you're going to go letting it change your life. And if you're not careful, that's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you dearly. That's what we do. That's what we do. We see those who are just on fire for the gospel, on fire to win souls for heaven. And we say, you know what? You just need to chill out a little bit. No, they don't. You need to get fired up a little bit.
A lot of it.
We need to get fired up a little bit. We need to get as close to them as we possibly can to start feeling their heat. Let some of them catch us on fire. That's what we need to do. As our Pastor Greg also said, he said, many Christians today have a big brain and a very small heart. And the church's temperature has dropped. Her step is sluggish, and her spirit is apathetic. Amen. We must ask ourselves, where has our passion for soul winning gone? Where is our burden of evangelism? Why does it seem that evangelism seems to be more of a distraction for the church than its core function? Over the last few months, Austin's been able to take me out to Turtle Point where he works. It's a very exclusive private country club, and so I've been trying to go out there, and I try to get out there once a week, just play 9 holes. And one day, about a month or so ago, we were sitting there having a Coke after our round, and I noticed this guy who was in his mid-30s going by me in a golf cart. And the only reason I noticed him is because it dawned on me, that's the first person that I had seen out there at Turtle Point that was under the age of 70. I kid you not. And I asked Austin about that. I made a note. He said, yeah. He said more than 90% of Turtle Point's membership is over the age of 70. I said, are you kidding? How is that? He said, the membership fee is so high that young people can't afford it. And the members like it that way. You see, it's a membership club. They own it. They like it that way because they know that if they're to bring in younger people, they're going to have to make some changes.
Amen.
And they're not going to make any changes. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I don't know anything. But if the laws of nature are still intact, how long do you think that country club's going to stay open? About 10 to 15 years, I'm thinking, before they close their doors. It is our passion for holiness and our passion to see the lost come to Christ that makes a church powerful, that makes a church alive, that gives the church teeth. When we are preoccupied with comfort, when we're preoccupied with personal agendas, personal prosperity, personal problems, when we are content with mediocrity, we have no longer become relevant. We are no longer focused on the power of the Holy Spirit to change lives. And it is only, and there's something terribly wrong with that. And it is only a matter of time before we also close our doors. May God renew our passion to reach communities and neighborhoods Lost people matter to God, and they ought to matter to us. I love what this 1800s missionary C.T. Studd said. I want to be just like him when I grew up. He said, some want to live within the sound of chapel bells. I want to run a mission next door to the gates of hell. Oh, amen. Amen. I don't want to live in a country club. I want to be in a hospital, and I want to have sickness up to my eyeballs. I want to focus on those who are hurting. I want to focus on those who are lost. I want to focus on those who need Christ in their life. I want to focus on those who are dying and going to a sinner's death. I don't want to, no offense, I don't want to spend my life with you. I want to spend my life with those people who I'm never going to see again. I'm going to see you guys again. But I want to spend my time here on those people that I may never see again. And I hope that's the way you feel. I hope that's how you feel. It's not that I don't want to be your friend. It's not that you don't want to be mine. But I want to make more friends that I don't spend time with. And I want to make them into friends that they don't want to spend time with. You get the grip. You get the picture. When Pastor Greg finished his report, he shared a clip, a movie clip, from a popular recent movie called Hacksaw Ridge. Anybody seen that movie? Okay. It's the story of Desmond Doss, who helped save men, his fallen brothers, during a battle in World War II. He saw the wounded all over the battlefield, and he kept praying, just one more. Help me save just one more. David, would you turn out the lights and share that clip nice and loud? It's going to be dark, but your eyes will adjust and you'll catch on.
He was blind. Can you walk? Oh, no. Come on. Here we got him. Please, Lord. Help me get one more. Help me get one more.
Desmond Doss is credited for having single-handedly saved 75 men in the bloodiest battles of the Pacific War. You know what? He did it without a gun. He never carried a gun. He was a conscientious objector. But if he can have that kind of passion to save the physical lives of men, many of whom he never even met, how much more passionate should we be to save the eternal lives of our family members and our friends and our neighbors? After he was done with the report, he sat down, and our General Superintendent, Dr. Graves, got up, and he shared a challenge, and I want to share that with you in a moment. But first, I just want you to stop, and I want you to think. I want you to think about your own passion for just a moment. I want you to ask yourself, in the quietness of your heart, how burdened am I? Truly am I for lost people going to hell? Can we just have like 30 seconds of silence, and then I want to pray for us, okay? Do you mind? Just shut those lights back off, David. That's okay. We'll just leave those off in just a moment. Just close your eyes and contemplate that question for 30 seconds, and then I'll pray. Our Father in heaven, I'm reminded of your servant, Dr. Dallas Baggett, who at 101 years of age was every bit as passionate about saving just one more, witnessing in the nursing home that he spent his final days in, as he was when he was in his prime. I know that when he finally saw your face, his joy and your joy was made complete. Give us, your chosen, the same passion for the lost as men like Desmond Doss and Dallas Baggett had. Men, women, boys, and girls are perishing all around us and committing themselves to an eternal hell. And for that reason, you have called us to a holy purpose of confronting them and reasoning with them about where they will spend eternity. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, you can go ahead and hit those lights now. As I said, after the report, Dr. Graves got up and he shared, he brought out these two cards. And I think we have that picture up there. You can go ahead and put them up, and I'm going to ask the ushers to hand two of them out to you. These are cards that the largest Nazarene church in the world, which happens to be in Columbia, uses on a regular basis amongst their membership of 4,600. On one of the cards, it's simply a picture of a famous picture of Jesus knocking. It says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." And on the back, it's got the ABCs on how to get to heaven. And so you can keep that in your wallet, in your purse. The other card, is our ushers out there? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. On the other card, there's on the back, on the front, there's a picture of the prodigal son being embraced by his father, and on the back are 5 lines. 5 lines for you to prayerfully list 5 names of unsaved family, friends, and neighbors. That's all. 5 names. I want you, the next time you get on your knees, I want you to take your card and I want you to ask God to reveal to you, and it might be on the way home. So be ready to pull over. And ask God, who does He want you to place on this card? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to commit to 3 things. Let me first ask you this question. This is an important question. By show of hands. Don't raise your hand if you don't believe it. But if you believe it, raise both hands. How many do you believe in the power of prayer? Okay. So I want you to commit to 3 things. The first thing I want you to commit to is I want you to commit to praying for these 5 people by name every day for the next 90 days. Pray for them, each one of them, every day for the next 90 days. Secondly, I want you to commit to making contact, to reaching out with them at least once per week. All 5 of them at least once per week. Either through a visit, a phone call, or just a card. And finally, I want you to commit to inviting all 5 of them to our Friend Day, which will take place in about 90 days on October 21st. Now, hear me out. Don't just say, "Hey, you want to come to Friend Day?" or "Hey, Friend Day is October 21st. That doesn't cut it. In fact, the great salesman Zig Ziglar says it takes 5 no's to get a yes. And so I want you to commit to, over the next 90 days, I want you to commit to inviting each of those 5 people 5 times. Because a no is not a negative answer. A no is simply, "I need more information." It's just an opportunity to give them more. After the district assembly, actually about 2 months ago, I met with Pastor Greg and the other zone pastors, and he was getting another challenge out. He puts out challenges to his district each year. This challenge was to see 500 new conversions in the church year. Our church year ends February 28th. 500 new conversions. Now you think, okay, that's a bit lofty. Not really. When you break it down with 63 churches, that's a ratio of 8 conversions to 1 church by February 28th. I think we can do better. And I want to step it up. I said before that there is no reason, not a reason on the face of this earth, that I don't care if you're 12 or 92. There's no reason why you can't lead 1 person to Christ each and every year. How many of you believe that? Okay, 10 of you. There's no reason that every Christian cannot lead 1 person to Christ every year. So I'm going to challenge you. Every person here, we have some 85 adults and teenagers who are regular attendees here. I want to challenge every adult and every teenager to bring at least 1 person to Friend Day on October 21st. And I want to challenge every adult and teenager to lead 1 person, just 1 person to Christ by February 28th. I want to celebrate 85 new lives at the end of February, but I don't want to wait till then. And so, the very instant that you have helped lead someone to Christ, I want you to contact me immediately. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I want you to contact me immediately because here's what I want to do. I want to celebrate you, and I want to celebrate that new life the very next Sunday. I believe that if we truly are passionate for what Christ is passionate about, I believe with my whole heart that we can have a celebration Sunday of new life every Sunday between now and February 28th. I believe it. And I hope that you believe it too. But the only way to do it is get passionate. The only way to do it is fan that flame. To become burdened with the same thing that Jesus Christ is burdened for. Amen? God bless you. I look forward to hearing from you. And I look forward to hearing all the amazing things that are going on that God is going to do in us and through us. And I look forward to seeing 185 people in here on October 21st, Judy. I believe we can do it. I believe God wants to do it. You know, it just so happens, and I'm going to let you go. This is free. It just so happens that on October 21st, you know, we're back in the story. Guess what I'm preaching on? I'm preaching about Jesus on the cross. How cool is it that God did that? That God gives me that opportunity to pour on that evangelism, to just hammer that gospel home on the very day that each and every one of you are going to bring your family, your friends, and your neighbors. And with that, I'm going to call our ushers forward to take up our morning offering and finally get you out here. I promise you still beat the Baptist over the rest of it. Danny, would you mind praying for us?
Lord, I just want to thank you for this message that we heard today, Lord. Just help our passion. Just instill in us your vision, Lord, for what this church can be. We ask that you bless these offerings, Lord, and protect them.
Thank you, Tony. How many of you are going to go make God visible? Big amen if you're going to make God visible. Amen. Don't forget, if you are interested in playing softball, stick around for a couple minutes. The rest of you are dismissed. Hug on somebody, pretend you like it.